Hey everybody, it's Chris Marshall of the Payne Street Team, brought to you by Payne Auto Group Valley-wide and PayneAutoGroup.com, where we have what you want. Lo que tú quieres, regardless. It's time for another edition of Payne Auto Talk. And this edition involves revisiting Payne, Mission, Volkswagen, and Mitsubishi with their illustrious general manager, Mr. Freddie Flores. And he's got some updates on electric vehicles, including the all-new ID.4. Last time we talked to Freddie, he was going into a training, and he's got some new information on the ID.4 and the rest of the family of Volkswagen all-electric vehicles. And here we go. And here we are today again at Payne, Mission, Volkswagen, and Mitsubishi with the general manager, the grand poobah, the head honcho, Mr. Freddie Flores. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good today.
All righty. We got some awesome weather outside, slight breeze.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I know. It's been a little balmy, but guess what? It's typical South Texas weather.
It is.
I know we skipped spring and went right into summer. It's the longest summer in the history of the planet, but it's going pretty good. But the thing that are really hot here is the EVs, the electric vehicles, and Volkswagen ID.4. You've got some information coming up for us. Where ID.4 came out how long?
ID.4 came out the fourth quarter of 2020, so we're working on 3 years of having the ID.4 here with us.
And is it still in its 1.0, or it's been upgraded, right?
It had an upgrade, but it was a small upgrade. Nothing major.
Oh, cool. So just a little polish and buff.
A little polish and buff. And once they transferred and started building these here in Tennessee, that's when they got that little buff. That was a year ago.
Oh, awesome. So we're not having to wait for them to come from overseas.
We're not.
They're right here in the States.
Right here in the States, building here in the USA.
Awesome. So tell me about ID.4. What's cooking?
Well, we have plenty of them on the ground right now. Again, they're built here, so they're easier to get. They're on the ground, and I mean, just a great vehicle. I got to drive one. I think I mentioned this the last time we talked. We just based briefly on it, but I mean, the vehicle itself, it drives phenomenal. I mean, the weight, the balance of the vehicle is just so, how do you call it? Even. I mean, the distribution weight of the vehicle is it's great. It's like driving a sports car, and it's electric, so it gets up and goes. But great vehicle. Customers that were coming in and buying them, they're loving it. They're coming back. They're sending their family members to come and take a look at them. So good vehicle.
Awesome. And the thing is, like you said, the balance of it. So it's not like, let's say, an old muscle car with a big block engine. It's not nose heavy. It doesn't dive when you come to a halt, and it doesn't lean too much when you go into a turn.
Not at all. Nothing like that. Nothing like that.
Cool. And the cost of it, the cost to benefit ratio is the thing I know most people, that preys upon their mind when it comes to the vehicle versus, a fully electric vehicle. Then you have your plug-in electric hybrid, or plug-in electric vehicle, I should say, and then your traditional internal combustion engine. But how does the fundage play out?
Well, the ID.4, that's what we have on the ground right now. The ID.4 starts off on an entry level of $38,900, so $39,000. Nowadays, I mean, price of cars have gone up dramatically in the last couple of years. So it's not a lot more expensive vehicle than other vehicles that we currently have on the ground, but where you really get into it is the savings over time. So again, the start out price $39,000, not much more than what a gas combustion vehicle would be.
Yeah, I've noticed the pricing didn't have quite a jump.
It did not. Actually, it went down. Again, once they started being built here in the U.S. versus having them shipped over, the price actually came down. So it was a savings.
Yeah, I can see
versus
that
expense.
with like import tariffs. And
correct. Also
the supply line, like you said, now they're here. We don't have to wait forever and a day.
That's right.
Oh, awesome. I know that's for a while it was kind of difficult ordering vehicles, or if you did order it, you had to wait a while.
Yep, and it was hard. But again, now I think we have 7 of them out there right now. So we got plenty to choose from.
Most excellent. So the cost of benefit, they haven't had that bump in price and anything else. And now there's last time I was here, like you said, y'all were going into a training. So you got to go and do that and have the nice walk around and everything. From your walk around, what did you experience with, like you said, that minor little fluff and buff of the change?
Well, there were good change. There were things that a little bit simpler to use within the vehicle. Again, it's full electric, so there was things on the previous model that were a little harder for consumers to learn, or not really learn, but to go out there and what's this button for? What's that button for? There was a lot of buttons.
Oh, just the navigation
system.
Of the system.
Correct.
Okay.
So they made that easier. That's really the biggest change within it. But again, the price point coming down, $39,000 starting off. We went over the savings of being in one. So you get to come into one of these, you save between $900 and $1,300 in fuel charges, what you would normally be spending in fuel. And that takes into consideration you paying extra to get it charged at your home, but you're still saving $900 to $1,300 a year. You multiply that times 3 years of owning a vehicle, I mean, you're looking at almost $5,000. So it's quite a bit of money that you get to save there. And then not only that, your regular maintenance over those 3 years is a third of the cost, and that's just regular maintenance. You're talking, from belts to liquids to oil to stuff like that. You're saving a third just on that. So there's a lot of savings to go with it. And most importantly, obviously, we get to help improve the environment, right?
Yeah, I hear that. And also, like what you said with the saving money at the pump, plus with these kiosks now, these 200-volt volt kiosks, I mean, you just drop your debit card in there, a couple of bucks, 30, 45 minutes, enough time for you and the family go in and grab a bite to eat, come back out, you're ready to go again.
Yeah, it's you're not going to spend much more charging your vehicle, and it's you hit the nail on the head. It's 30 to 40 minute charge. You stop if you're on a road trip and you stop somewhere at a gas station. By the time you fill up the car, everybody gets off, goes to the restroom, get in there, get yourself a soft drink and some snacks. You're there for 30 minutes already.
Oh, that's the bathroom line wait there,
exactly.
Buc-ee's alone.
Exactly. So it's the same amount of time that you're going to be doing on that road trip at that stop. It's nothing different.
Awesome. And also the charging, like at people, it comes with that 110 volt charger that you can put into the wall, but also for people running one EV or maybe two, it probably, the cost to benefit to actually have one of those personal kiosks at home. I mean, if you're just doing a regular commute, like y'all use one here, don't you?
We use one. We have our runner. We call him our runner. He travels from store to store. He starts in the morning off actually here at our location, goes to the McAllen location. From the McAllen, he goes to our secondary McAllen location, goes to the FAR license plate, goes to our Edinburgh location, back to the McAllen location, all the way to Rio, back here. He's traveling about 150 to 160 miles a day, and that's what he uses, and it's great. I mean, obviously, we're saving. So he gets here, we plug in the vehicle overnight, and it's ready to go the next morning.
Wow, that thing's getting some exercise.
It's getting some exercise, that's right.
So that's like a daily commute just for, that's more than a daily commute for anybody just...
That would be considerably more for someone that's daily commuting. You're not going to do what this gentleman is doing as far as driving. Yeah. He's definitely driving more than your daily commuter, and it's perfectly good for him and perfectly good for us. Obviously, we're saving on fuel here at the store ourselves, and just plugging it in.
I was about to say a few years back, I was working as a file clerk for my uncle, and I had to do a lot of valley driving. And I tell you what, it started adding up at the pump. So yeah, that would have been nice.
It adds up.
That would have been nice
me.
Back in the day.
It adds up.
I got you. Now, when it comes to the maintenance of it, it's not as high maintenance as some people think. I mean, I know we still got to take care of our tires and lubrication. Usually, it's wheel bearings and stuff. But y'all have that here,
correct?
And but when it comes down to the actual consumer, just doing their walk around, what do they have to do, like on a daily basis, weekly basis?
Well, we still recommend having the car come in Volkswagen says 5,000, the first 5,000 miles, bring it in just so we can get a quick look at it, make sure everything is operating correctly. And that's just again what we consider a pit stop for us. But it's between 7,000 to 10,000 miles. Come in, let us take a look at it. Of course, our certified technicians for electric vehicle will take a look at that, make sure everything's lubricated, everything's done correctly. But you might not need nothing. And then this is where it comes in, or I said it's a third of the price to maintain the vehicle. So they're going to inspect tires, of course, brakes. You still have brakes in the vehicle. They'll inspect those two things, make sure your millimeters on your brakes are still good, and make sure the depth thread on your tires are still good. Everything else is very, very simple. It's kind of a grease gun kind of going in there and making sure everything's going.
So it's just basically just a couple of checks here and there. Also, tires, I know that's the one thing. What's the old saying? That's the four things that actually touch the ground are your tires. And my dad always said it doesn't cost that much more to go first class. So I know with EVs, y'all have a special kind of tire, don't you?
They do have a special tire. I don't want to tell you exactly what it is. I don't know what type of tire it is, but it's a high rated tire. I can tell you that. I just don't know the specifics of that.
From what I've read, I think it's the rubber content, so it doesn't wear as much, which is nice because you're talking about a lot of city driving. I don't think people are going to be going off-roading at the island.
No.
Or turning their ID4 into a sand rail.
I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
I don't have anybody I've known that has done it yet, so I don't have any good advice to tell you to go do that.
I was about to say, yeah. Electricity and sand and water, probably not the best.
Not the best thing to do.
Not directly on sand. But if you got the gumption to, hey, we'll talk to you. I'm curious. So we got that. And like you said, every 7,000 to 10,000 miles. That's because usually on a synthetic blend internal combustion engine, we're talking like 6,000 miles. They change out the filter, add a quart. I think that's the old standard and saying. And with this here, y'all have your techs are specifically for EVs. You've got a whole section here.
Correct. I got specific techs that are certified for just our EV vehicles.
Most excellent. And I'll say this: how often do you have a major issue with the EV?
As of right now, I'm going to have to say not often. We don't have major issues with them. Do they have recalls? Yes, but these recalls are...
Like an update?
They're updates. Literally, they're updates. They get plugged into a computer, they get updated, and they're back on the road.
Oh, that's...
The new
awesome.
the new recalls are updates.
Great. So it's like your cell phone updates overnight.
That's right. That's 100% correct.
Cool. Now, for those looking to get into an EV, like what would if they said, what am I looking at? What would be a tip and trick to say, I want to get into EV? What's the idea behind it? How is it going to benefit me?
Well, there's a couple benefits. Obviously, you can go into an EV, and we already mentioned the price, right around $39 entry level. But from there, you have a $7,500 lease rebate tax credit type issue that you can use on the purchase of the lease. So that already took $7,500 right off the price for you if you're leasing that vehicle.
That's a federal tax credit?
That is a federal tax credit. That's correct.
$7,500.
You don't have to use it. You want to use it towards your tax credits at the end of the year when you're doing your company taxes. You can do either or. But look at it. Both ways. You're saving $7,500.
Get it up front or get it during
correct
before April 15th.
So let me put it this way. Right now, you can come out here, lease an EV. And mind you, we're not even talking a $39,000. We're probably talking a $45,000, $46,000, and you can lease that for $369 a month. They're very, very good lease plans on these vehicles right now.
Wow.
Yep.
And that's like seating for 5.
That is seating for 5. That's right.
With cargo. Wow. So wow. That's awesome. Try that with a full size SUV. If you're not pulling a trailer, and all that, I can see that. But yeah, this is great. Now, and also one of our first podcasts, we had a gentleman here. His name escapes me, but Volkswagen got into this thing to where they're now putting up these 200-volt kiosks across America. So this is actually going to help in time with just that charging on the go.
Correct.
It's not just we're limited to the valley, and am I going to make it to Corpus? And with a 150-mile average driving range.
That's correct. So Volkswagen signed on with Electrify America.
Electrify, that's right.
And they're the company that is putting in these kiosk charging stations. It's in the plans, obviously, to get those charging stations down towards the valley. We don't have very many of them now. There is charging stations here in the valley. Not to say that there isn't any, but again, they don't need to be in every single corner right now. We just mentioned we have our runner running 150, 160 miles a day, and he's perfectly fine.
And that's 5 to 6 days a week.
That is 5 days a week, yes.
Wow. Okay, now this is the ID.4, but Volkswagen is not going to sit on their laurels too long. So I know I'll say microbus now, but there's got to be something else. ID.4, is there going to be an ID.5, an ID.4?
There is going to be an ID.7, and that's actually going to be the next electric vehicle coming out.
The action never stops at Payne Mission Volkswagen. You said, hold on. You said ID.7.
That is correct.
So we're skipping the 5 and 6 and going for the Gusto.
We're going straight to the 7. That's right. So the difference from the ID.7 and the ID.4 is the ID.4 is I guess you consider an SUV style.
Yeah, mid-size crossover.
Yeah. Correct. The ID.7 is going to be a passenger car. It's going to be what kind of replaces the Passat in the electric version versus the gas
like a sedan.
A sedan. That's
okay.
correct.
I got you.
That's going to be replacing. That's going to be their new big sedan.
Nice. Is it going to be on par with like the R-Line stuff?
It actually will. It's going to have that look to it. It is going to have a longer range. So speaking of range, I know we didn't bring it up right now, but the range on the ID.4 is 283, and on the ID.7 is going to be 300.
Wow.
So it's actually going to have a longer range than the ID.4.
So the ID.7 is going to have a longer range just by a little bit, but then again, I'm not even going to say the years, as the weeks and months go by, range is going to be increasing.
Yes. So, they'll increase with over time, and obviously new technology, and technology changes daily, so that it'll get better.
Yeah, that's our era right now. It used to be computers were, in 6 months it's going to be obsolete. Now it's like, what time is it?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the ID.7. It's going to be a sedan. Alrighty, now on to the grand poobah. The thing I want to talk about is that microbus. Yeah! The VW bus. It makes its triumphant return soon.
It's going to be released next year. It'll be a 2025 model that is released, and that's the ID Buzz. It'll come out in 2024 as a 2025 model.
Okay. So around the summertime of 2024.
Correct. And that one, as of right now, we don't have tons and tons of information on it, but what we do have, we have a range in between ID.4 and the ID.7, so it's going to be a good range also. And the starting price point is supposed to be about $40,000, so that's actually going to be a very, very good price point coming in.
Wow. $40K for a microbus. That's wow. Right now the vintage one, the collectors, man, they're paying dang near that for one with a pop-up camper on it and stuff. That's insane.
You're paying that for something. You still need to drop another 40 into it just to make it
make sure it don't rust. But yeah, now I know a while back I covered a little bit of the not the prototype stage, but the concept where they talked about putting augmented reality in the windscreen. But I do know this, since there's no motor in the back, that means a whole lot more cargo space.
There is a lot more cargo space in not just that one, in all these electric vehicles. You remember your motor is a lot smaller than your combustion motor engine, and transmission is very small. So once you get into one of these vehicles, you're going to notice there's a lot more leg room, there's a lot more shoulder room, there's a lot more storage. It's just there's more room in these vehicles altogether.
So we got ID.4 is rocking and rolling. ID.7 is on its way.
Up and coming, that's right.
Yes, and then we got to wait till about a year.
It's about a year. So it'll be the fourth quarter of 2024 before we see an ID Buzz.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it. Trust me.
I'm jazzed, man.
I'm waiting for it.
I know, bummer. Well, I know somebody's going to have a surfboard rack on theirs. And the colors, that's one thing. Is it going to be those pastels?
They're going to have pastel colors. You're going to have the option of having the two-tone colors, like nice. the older
that
Buds,
white
buses.
Yeah.
So they're going to look awesome. I honestly, I can't wait till they get here. I want to see one in person.
No joke. We're going to have one with all the flowers on it and everything. Take me to Woodstock, man.
That's right.
Cool. Now, for those out there that they get their vehicle and then they swing by Payne Mission Volkswagen to recharge it, y'all do have a charging station.
We do. We have 2 up front, and we have 2 over here towards the backside. So we have 4 charging stations altogether, and yeah, you're more than welcome. We have customers that have purchased the vehicles. They're in the general area. They stop by to charge their car, say hello, have a few words, and they're on their way.
Awesome. Now, I know our sister store in Brownsville, they've already broke ground, and they're going to be doing their new facility here. Is Payne Mission going to have a little bit of a makeover here?
It is in the plans. It looks like we're going to have a brand new facility coming here pretty soon. Can't wait for that to happen. Can't wait for our consumers and our customers to be able to come into our new facility. And with that, we'll actually have upgraded power charging stations.
Awesome. As foretold in the scrolls,
Yep.
it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to electric vehicles, Payne Mission Volkswagen is your home here in the mid to upper valley. And don't forget, we got our friends down in Payne, Brownsville, Volkswagen and Mitsubishi. They got their thing going on down there too. But when it comes to ID.4, Payne Mission is where it is at. Come on in for a test drive. Check it out. I was going to say bother Freddie about that ID.7, but we know it's going to be here soon. And the Microbus. In closing, Mr. Flores, what do you got?
Come on in. Even if you have questions, doubts, I want you to come in, take a look at the car. Just get inside it, take it down the road to one of our sales reps or myself. I'm be more than happy to get in the vehicle and drive it with you to answer any questions you may have, and give it an opportunity. You never know, what you're going to feel. You might have doubts and questions about electric, but they're great vehicles, great vehicles.
I will say, as an old motorhead, when you get in there and there's no motor noise and you push on the pedal and you start moving forward, it's a true ghost in the machine experience.
It's a ghost in the machine, but
it's so strange.
Every once in a while, that peace and quiet of that road trip everyone just needs it every once in a while. And trust me, it's quiet.
Well, I've actually taken an ID.4 around the lot and down the road a little bit, and it's for me it's a whole new world.
It is.
But I guess that's the world we're all walking into.
We're headed that way. The car industry is headed that way.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it straight from the man here, the general manager of Payne Mission Volkswagen and Mitsubishi, Mr. Freddie Flores. Thank you for joining me again on Payne Auto Talk, Mr. Flores. So come on in, ladies and gentlemen, check out what they have in store for you with the Volkswagen ID.4 and other vehicles from Payne Auto Group Valley-wide and PayneAutoGroup.com. Once again, I'm Chris Marshall of the Payne Street Team, brought to you by the aforementioned Payne Auto Group Valley-wide and PayneAutoGroup.com. This has been Payne Auto Talk, and we are gone regardless.